Pershing soldier. Head. Hut. Yes.
Once again, good afternoon and welcome. Today, the United States Army, Military District of Washington, represented by the soldiers of the 3rd United States Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, and the United States Army Band, Pershing Zone, pay a special tribute to several soldiers who are retiring after many years of distinguished service to the United States Army and our nation. Participating in today's review, from left to right, is the United States Army Band Pershing Zone. Formed in 1922 by then Army Chief of Staff, General John J. Pershing, the United States Army Band is the premier band of our senior service. Pershing Zone provides musical support for ceremonies and special events in our nation's capital and throughout the United States. The United States Army Band is under the direction of Major Aaron Morris and led by Drum Major Rob Moore. Elements of the Old Guard include Honor Guard Company, commanded by Captain Matthew McGovern and led by First Sergeant Shane Grinder. Next on line is Bravo Company, commanded by Captain James Seiger and led by First Sergeant Joshua Plant. Next on line is Hard Rock Company, commanded by Captain Martino Ahn and led by Sergeant First Class Sean Polloy. Following is the Commander-in-Chief's Guard, patterned after the unit created by General George Washington in 1776 to be his personal guard. The Commander-in-Chief's Guard is commanded by Captain Sean Martin and led by Staff Sergeant Dennis White. The last element on line, dressed in the Continental Musician's uniform, is the United States Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps. During the American Revolution, musicians wore the reverse colors of their parent infantry unit. The men and women of the United States Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps maintained this tradition by wearing red coats instead of the infantry blue. The Corps is led today by Drum Major Barrett Newman. Ladies and gentlemen, moving into position is the commander of troops for today's ceremony, Lieutenant Colonel Maxwell Pappas, Commander, 1st Battalion, 3rd United States Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard. Since the days of the American Revolution, the colors have been one of the most important elements of a military unit. Therefore, taking the center of our formation in just a moment and bearing the national color is the nation's foremost color team, the 3rd Infantry's Continental Color Guard, led by Sergeant Eric Drizwicki. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the advancing of the colors.
Advance the colors! The colors. Step right. Face.
Color. Forward. March.
Please be seated.
Color ready. Cut. Color. Dress center. Dress. Officers. Dress center. Dress. Color ready. Cut. Officers. Ready. Front.
The history of the 3rd United States Infantry Regiment reflects the growth and development of our nation. 55 well-earned battle streamers, 2 Valorous Unit Awards, 3 Meritorious Unit Commendations, and 5 Superior Unit Awards attest to the Old Guard's record of bravery in action and achievements during peacetime. In 1922, the War Department granted permission for the Old Guard to pass in review with bayonets fixed. The Old Guard will now fix bayonets to the traditional beat of the drum.
Sound. Fix. Bayonets.
Ladies and gentlemen, taking the reviewing stand are the reviewing officials for today's ceremony. Major General Deborah Kotulich, Chief Warrant Officer 3, Kevin Padilla, and Command Sergeant Major Reuben Cherry, accompanied by the hosts, Major General Trevor Bradenkamp, Commander, Joint Task Force, National Capital Region, United States Army Military District of Washington, and Command Sergeant Major Nicholas Rocky, Command Sergeant Major of the 3rd United States Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard.
Present. Arms.
Color, ready, cut.
Huh, ready? Rest. Sound off. Staff, parade, rest.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the advancing of the colors and remain standing for the United States National Anthem.
Colors, forward, march! So the persons to be honored and colors are present.
Present the command.
Shoulder, violence,
And one, and two, and three.
Present! Arm!
And one, two, and three.
Detachment! Present! All!
Please be seated. Major General Bradenkamp and Command Sergeant Major Rocky are now moving into position to honor the retirees. Please feel free to applaud your soldier as they are called. Headquarters, Department of the Army Special Orders. By order of the Secretary of the Army, the following soldiers of the Department of the Army are retired. Major General Deborah Kotulich, Office of the Chief Army Reserve. Chief Warrant Officer 3, Kevin Padilla, Aviation. Command Sergeant Major Ruben Cherry, Transportation. Colonel James Cahill, Strategist, Aviation. Colonel Brett Forbes, Field Artillery. Colonel Gary Golubsky, Signal Corps. Colonel Lisa Hendrick, Adjutant General. Colonel Daniel Haberreiter, Infantry. Colonel Stephen Howell, Logistics. Colonel Brian McGarry, Military Intelligence. Colonel Quentin Portis, Cyber. Colonel Michael Pelsner, Medical Corps. GS-15 John Rodamichio, U.S. Army Medical Department. Colonel Joshua Seagraves, Infantry. Colonel William Stevens, JAG Corps. Colonel Joseph Sturbis, Medical Corps. Colonel Kevin Smith, Medical Services. Colonel Christopher Todd, Medical Services. Lieutenant Colonel Derek Anderson, Logistics. Lieutenant Colonel Jacob Atkins, Information Operations. Lieutenant Colonel Brian Baptist, Cyber. Lieutenant Colonel John Byler, Infantry. Lieutenant Colonel Bradley Cowan, Judge Advocate. Lieutenant Colonel Paul Carrillo, Military Intelligence. Lieutenant Colonel Jennifer Feltwell, Army Nurse Corps. Lieutenant Colonel Emperatriz Henriquez, Adjutant General. Lieutenant Colonel William Horton, Chaplain Corps. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Lewis, Cyber. Lieutenant Colonel Rajiv Patel, Special Operations. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Samante, Medical Specialist Corps. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver Stolley, Logistics. Lieutenant Colonel Tracy Tewia, Signal Corps. Major Latanya Martin, Adjutant General. Chief Warrant Officer 3, Brent Vance, Adjutant General. Sergeant Major Paul Robinson, Medical. First Sergeant Richard Corrales, Military Intelligence. First Sergeant Deidre Hooper, Aviation. First Sergeant Joseph Moreno Jr., Field Artillery. Master Sergeant Monique Austin Malone, Adjutant General. Master Sergeant Miriam Campbell, Signal Corps. Master Sergeant Antonio Ceballos, medic. Master Sergeant Philip Durham, Signal Corps. Master Sergeant Maria Gomez, Adjutant General. Master Sergeant Jonathan Cruzcamp, Signal Corps. Master Sergeant Brian Mitchell, Military Police. Master Sergeant Josephine Pride, Signal Corps. Master Sergeant Alex Villasenor, Adjutant General. Sergeant First Class Frankie Bunn, Quartermaster. Sergeant First Class Dario Franco, Military Intelligence. Sergeant First Class Uriah Jones, Military Intelligence. Sergeant First Class Travis Morrissey, Adjutant General. Sergeant First Class Guillermo Ochoa, Medical. Sergeant First Class Sarah Padilla, Signal Corps. Sergeant First Class Gary Tuggle, Motor Transport. We are proud to recognize these soldiers' devotion to our country, and we wish them happiness and prosperity in their well-earned retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the posting of the colors.
Post the colors.
Please be seated.
Ceremonial.
Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Trevor Bradenkamp.
Distinguished guests, senior leaders, command sergeants, majors, friends, and above all, the soldiers and families to be honored here today, thank you for making time to attend this retirement ceremony at historic Joint Base Myer-Henderson Hall. On behalf of the Secretary of the Army, the Admiral Don Driscoll, Chief Staff of the Army, General Randy A. George, and the Sergeant Major of the Army, Mike Weimer, welcome. It's another beautiful yet hot day here in the nation's capital, and it's a great day to be a soldier. Before I address our distinguished retirees and families, I would like to take a moment and thank those who have worked so hard to make today such a special occasion. On the floor in front of you are the soldiers of the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, the Army's oldest active duty infantry regiment, along with the U.S. Army Band Pershing Zone. You look tremendous, sound amazing, and your professionalism and precision honors those retiring here today. Thank you for your hard work and dedication, and thanks for serving in our Army. So the soldiers retiring here today joined the Army to be all they could be. Some joined the Army following Desert Shield and Desert Storm, others after America was attacked on 9/11. All have stood ready to meet the challenges and uncertainty of the global war on terror that brought almost 2 decades of continuous combat operations. They stand here today representing the best of America. Today we honor 54 soldiers and their families for their faithful and dedicated service to our nation, and again, for being all they could be. Collectively, these soldiers represent over 1,400 years of military service. With service around the globe and in a variety of combat arms, combat support, and combat service support specialties, these soldiers, leaders, and their families answered the nation's call and have not only served during a period of persistent conflict, but also led and trained our young men and women to deploy into harm's way and to do our nation's bidding. Our Army and our nation owes you a debt of gratitude for your service and sacrifice that can never fully be repaid. And the medal and the U.S. flag are but a small token of appreciation for your service. I would like to take just a moment to talk about our flag, Old Glory. That you receive a flag on the occasion of your retirement is significant, in that it is a symbol of our nation and recognized around the world. We have fought to protect the freedoms in our way of life, and we wear the stars and stripes proudly on our uniform, both at home and while deployed. The red color in the flag symbolizes hardiness and valor, for which each of you has personified as a soldier and leader in our Army, operating on austere conditions with limited resources to accomplish difficult missions. The white color refers to the purity and innocence which you have sought to protect both here at home and abroad. And the blue color represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice, which each of you has demonstrated in the conduct of your duties as officers and non-commissioned officers. I'm sure the flag holds special meaning for each one of you, as it should, given your service to our nation. As you walk out of Conmy Hall today, take solace in knowing you leave behind a legacy in the lives of the countless soldiers you have trained, mentored, and inspired. The Army is better because of your service. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for these 54 great soldiers. But we would be remiss if we did not take some time to thank the family members of each of these retiring soldiers. Your sacrifice and support over the past 20-plus years of service has been a foundation to the success of each of these retirees, allowing them to serve in the Army they love and accomplish their assigned missions without fail. You have remained steadfast in your support during a time of war that necessitated family separations, and for that, you will never be adequately compensated. Please accept our eternal thanks on behalf of a grateful nation for all that you have endured as military families. We could not fulfill our obligations to our soldiers, the nation, and the Army without the love and support of our families. So please join me in a round of applause for our Army families. To our retiring soldiers, thank you for your service. You are warriors and soldiers for life. So I humbly ask that you take on one last task: tell the Army story. Help to maintain the all-volunteer Army by sharing your experiences with America's sons and daughters so they might be inspired to follow in your footsteps to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We continue to serve as a shining example around the world because men and women like you have volunteered to serve. So on behalf of the Secretary Driscoll, General George, Sergeant Major of the Army Weimer, Joint Task Force National Capital Region, the Military District of Washington, and the United States Army, and a proud and grateful nation, thank you, good luck, and Godspeed. This will defend and be all you can be.
Go!
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Army Song. The United States Army is honored to have presented today's special ceremony. Thank you for attending and enjoy the rest of your day.